So as you may or may not be able to tell, I've recently finished putting together my new desk with a few new items, and I think it is almost perfect. I just wanted to make a little video going over, well, the desk itself, to the peripherals, to the tech, to why and how it's useful to my workflow, and then finally, what could be added to make it even better. And to start, I'm just gonna rapid fire some of the accessories. A lot has actually stayed the same, like my wooden clock, my desk lamp, my laptop stand, this huge mouse pad, and of course the floating, rotating magnetic plant pot, which I think adds like a really cool futuristic tech vibe. I think it just fits well. And I don't think I've actually mentioned this before, but what's very important here are my blue light glasses. It does feel like they reduce eye strain, which they're supposed to. I just gotta remember if I'm color grading something to take those off because it changes the way all of the colors look, and I am guilty of that. And for some of the more techie accessories, I have a pretty mediocre wireless phone charger. It's less there to charge my phone and more there to have a place to put my phone down that's not in my hands. And that kind of works well with this little guy here, Scrolly. It's just one of those phone app blockers. You just scan it and it blocks the apps on your phone. I pretty much use this thing every day. It also indirectly works as a good way to track how many hours you've worked. I also have my Logitech MX Creative Console, which if you don't know is one of those macro keyboard shortcut keypads. I personally end up using it mostly with video editing, specifically balancing the exposure of clips. Having a separate device and just the functionality of a dial itself, it can come in handy in a lot of unique ways. And I also have my good old iPad here, which typically has just been being used as an extra display with Apple Sidecar, sometimes being used for touchscreen tasks. And for some of my peripherals here, starting with my mouse, this is the Logitech MX Master 4, and it is pretty expensive, but it is the perfect mouse for me. You can essentially do nothing on a computer without a mouse and keyboard, so out of everything here, that is worth investing in. I used to use an MX Master 2S, and when I say used, I mean abused. I was primarily using it on a Windows desktop, but when I switched to Mac OS, I kind of shied away from it because of the gestures. I was using the Magic Trackpad just because of how nice it is to swipe from page to page. Don't get me wrong, I still love the trackpad. I mean, that's why I even bothered to keep it out on my desk here, but it doesn't get much use anymore because with the MX Master 4, there's this little button right here. That changes everything because when you click down on that and swipe to the left and swipe to the right, it registers as a Mac OS gesture. But all gestures aside, I do find the shape to be basically perfect for my hand. The horizontal scroll wheel is nice, and I'm a huge fan of the clicks being essentially silent. A kind of funny contrast to that is I'm actually a big fan of mechanical keyboards, which are everything but silent for the most part. I used to have one down here, but I just found it was a little too thick for this setup, so I thought might as well finish off the entire Logitech ecosystem with the MX keys. It's backlit, it has all the function keys I want. There's no Touch ID like there is on Apple's Magic Keyboard, but that's totally fine. The only thing I don't like about it is how on the bottom left, there's Control, Option, and Command. That is slightly different than the actual MacBook's keyboard, which has Function, Control, Option, and Command. So that took a little bit of getting used to, but that also just seems to be the case with all keyboards for Mac that aren't made by Apple. And you do save a good bit of money for a keyboard that I think is a little bit better. Audio quality is something that is important to me, but it's not important in the sense of I need the best possible audio quality. I want the most common audio quality because my videos are being watched on YouTube, mostly gonna be on phones and laptops and, not surround sound speakers. So I wanna be hearing the audio the same way viewers are gonna be hearing it. So my choice in speakers are actually just my MacBooks. As I'll get into later, I have a 16-inch MacBook. One thing that does mean is it has very good speakers. The only awkward thing is it's on the left side here, so audio is only coming from the left side. But I just don't see enough of a reason to go out and buy external speakers. Now for my earbuds, I would like to use AirPods because that's a somewhat common listening device. But because they're Bluetooth, they have a very slight delay. And when I'm doing something like video editing, that really grinds my gears. So I opt for my good old faithful IEMs. These are the SimGot EW200s. I made a video on them a long time ago, and every single day since then, I have used these. They're cheap, they sound good, and they have a nice neutral profile. And that's all I need. It actually does make me curious. I'd love to hear what audio device you're listening to this on right now. And maybe if I should get speakers, is that worth it? Now, if you've been looking at my chair and been thinking, boy, Carter, that looks comfortable, you're right. And I know this is kind of like the boring stuff. So before I talk about my computer and cool new monitor setup, this is the OK Up M80 chair. It is quite chunky, but it's like they took a recliner and an office chair and just combined them. I genuinely look forward to sitting down at this desk because of how comfortable this is. It has a heated seat, a ventilated seat, which there's a heat wave right now. I should probably have that on. All of that stuff is cool, but I don't use it that often. I usually just recline it and sometimes adjust the footrest. The only downside about this chair, besides how heavy it is, I think it's 75 pounds, is the controls. You kind of got to memorize what letter corresponds to what function, but once you get the hang of that, this thing's amazing. Now, 2 little bonus tips. If you don't want to destroy a carpet, get one of those floor mats. I put one underneath here. The second little tip is I have this kind of, I guess, footrest mat, and it has all these little bumps and bulges. I don't know how to explain this, but you can put your feet on it, you can rub your feet over it, and if you're sitting for a long time or if you're standing up on it, it really helps. And that of course brings us right up to this. It wouldn't be much of a desk setup without the desk itself. And thanks to the sponsor of this video, Vernal, I've been loving taking advantage of a few new things here. This is the Vernal Core 3 standing desk, along with the desk shelf, the cable management tray, and what's been my favorite thing is the desk drawer. I no longer have any adapters or cables or drives or other accessories just laying out on top of my desk. They're all out of my workspace now, but also organized and easy to access. No matter your workflow, Vernal provides a full workspace solution and you don't have to go out and buy other accessories. And these were very easy to put together and install. If you take a look underneath the desk with Vernal's cable management tray and cable management kit, there's plenty of room to fit my entire power strip in there and also just keep the cables managed and out of the way with Velcro ties and also the magnetic cable clips. I'm a fan of the wood and black theme, so I opted for the laminate walnut color for the desktop and accessories. But no matter the size or color you prefer, Vernal has plenty of options to fit your needs. And whether you plan on standing, sitting, or both, you can situate the desk to the perfect height for you and save it to one of the 3 custom options on the keypad. And even with the desk at the max height, it still feels sturdy. The last thing you want is all of your expensive equipment falling down. That's also why I appreciate the anti-collision system. Price-wise, the desks are currently starting at $409.99 with Vernal's summer sale, so be sure to check them out with my link below and use my discount code for 6% off. But thanks again to Vernal for sponsoring this video. Now, I have talked about my computer a lot on this channel, and this is a laptop setup all running from my M4 Max MacBook Pro, the 16-inch model. Now, I do still have my MacBook Neo, which I keep in my desk drawer, and I love the Neo. I don't need it because everything that can do, obviously my M4 Max MacBook can do. But at least to me, choosing a laptop for my setup was a very good decision. I like using it as a second monitor. And if I ever feel like working even just on a couch, I can pick it up and go without having to worry about transferring any files over or anything like that. I mean, this is quite literally desktop power in a laptop since it uses the same exact chip in something like the Mac Studio. When I'm exporting videos, I have to double check if I rendered it in 4K or 1080p because of how fast it goes. And as someone who used to use slow computers, that has not lost its novelty for me. And yes, it's an M4 Max and not an M5, but it makes absolutely no difference to me. This is so much more power than I need now, never mind years down the line. If I ever get a newer generation of MacBook, I guarantee you it's specifically just to make a video on. It's not because I need an upgrade. And because this is a sit-stand desk, it's on top of my desk. I don't have to worry about having a desktop underneath and a bunch of cables that might get yanked on if I'm moving it up and down. I do have my MacBook hooked up to my dock, which I have something to say about that in a second, but just looking at the dock, I have a few USB-C cables kind of just hanging out, ready for things to be plugged in. As far as cable management, can you see a couple cables? Yes. Does it look messy? To me, no. I think it's functional. If I ever need to switch something out, it's going to be a whole lot easier. Before I talk about some potential future improvements for my desk, I want to talk about the most recent improvement I just made, and that is the display the MacBook's plugged into. That was an iMac, now it's a monitor. I just made a video going over the whole experience. Essentially, this is a DIY Apple Studio display since old 5K iMacs, like this 2015 one, are cheap and use the same exact 5K panel as Apple Studio displays. And I gotta say, having a 27-inch 5K crisp bright display It's just been glorious to work with. Like a lot of things on my desk. It doesn't matter if I'm editing videos, watching videos, or just working on a document. It just makes it so much enjoyable to work. I would say pretty much everything here is perfect or gets me by just fine, but there are 3 little things. The first one is pretty minor. It's just the armrests on this chair are too high up, so if I'm all the way pulled into my desk and I try turning the chair to get up, it bumps into it. Really small adjustment there, I just gotta back up. The second thing has to do with the frame design of the iMac. The bezels are pretty thick and that can look a little outdated, but it's also this whole bottom part here raises up the start of the display just higher than I want, but it's still at a comfortable eye level for me. And the third thing is just the dock. It only supports 4K 60 display outputs. So to take advantage of the full 5K iMac, which you'd be crazy not to, I have to plug in 1 cable to the MacBook for the dock and then 1 for the display. Like that's just a first world problem. But I am happy to say that I feel like I've made a desk setup that I genuinely enjoy working in. And I think that's the most important part. But part of that is due to the desk itself. So thanks again to Vernal for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check that out below. But thank you for watching and feel free to subscribe for more.